You don't want to rush, they might be coming around the corner
Nancy gave me a gavel, and she wanted me to use it, so that was the first crack at it. Okay. The Brazos County Commissioners Court will conduct a public hearing on Monday, October 17th, 2022, 2 p.m. Commissioners Courtroom, the County Administration Building, 200 South Texas Avenue. The court will hear comments on the proposed tax increase for 2022. Interested parties are invited to attend said hearing and present their cause, if any, for or against the tax increase for 2022. And so the public comment section is open, and anybody that's here is welcome to come up and speak about the tax rate. And we'll, just in case somebody's late yet coming in, we'll give it about probably till 2:10 and see if anybody shows up.
Well, Judge, I do want to say that the gavel works. As soon as you pounded it, we got complete attention, so.
That was good practice.
It was. I hope people show up so you can use it.
Yes, I do too. Nina, I don't know whether you want to come up and tell us how much fun you've had this year for budget.
It's been years back in my life.
I'm surprised your hair hadn't turned a lot grayer, you know, I mean.
It only falls out apparently when I wear dark colors, so I see it's like gray hair. Long. It's been an experience this year, that's for sure. It's been fun.
Well, we appreciate all the hard work. You do a great job.
And she has done it, and a big thank you to her and,
Yeah,
and Katie.
Katie, yeah.
We've had fun. There's been laughter, there's been tears. But it's been fun.
Are you going to?
Constable Lampo.
Constable Lampo, Precinct 2. I know the colleagues that are not here are going to be watching and listen to this. I've been in county politics for 22 years. Never seen anything like this in my life, in my 22 years of people not being able to work together, get a package done. You lost the vote. When we run, if we lose the vote, what happens? We go home. This was a democratic way. They lost the vote 3-2. That's how the process works. It's really disgusting. Like I said, I've been in Precinct 2 since I got out of the Army in '73. Been in the volunteer fire department out there for 35 years. It's just, I've never seen anything like this, the lack of wanting to help. We're talking about helping the people. How are you helping the people? If they want to do the tax rate that they want, they said there's a $2 million surplus. Is that correct, what they said, I think?
There's been
A
several.
$2 million surplus, one windstorm will wipe that out. It's gone. It's just, I have a lot I could say, but it's not appropriate for this microphone. but it's just really disgusting and aggravating that we can't work together. You know, you can't. The number of citizens, and I know all three of you had too. Can we deduct their pay? We can't answer that question, but it's a good idea because they're sure not here earning it. I mean, again, they lost the vote. Let's move on and get the county going. We're growing so much here in Brazos County. We have to have these revenues to keep going.
That's true.
We have to have them to keep going. Or we're gonna go back to 8 years before you took office, where it took that previous county judge 6 years to straighten up what happened 8 years prior to that by no raising the taxes. I mean, I got used SO cars, and they were used. And we had to paint them white, and it was the ugliest white paint you ever seen put on because it didn't stick and peel off. It was bad. But, you know, we're going back to that. And I feel, sure, 23 is taken care of. But what happens the next 5 years? You're going to have to raise taxes. One of them's not going to be here to hear that citizens complain and griping then, because that's what's going to happen. That's what 6 years it took that previous county judge did it to get it back, where we had a little rainy day fund that we could work with and be safe with.
And he didn't have a 3.5% cap.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm through.
Yeah, and I saw an article in the Chronicle. You know, Harris County is having this same sort of issue, and two of the commissioners down there holding out. And what I saw in that article was kind of caught my eye was that their total tax rate in Harris County is 0.581. Total tax rate. Now that's I don't know what all they fund down there, but it's 10 cents 100 higher than what it is in Brazos County. So that's what their total tax rate is. And they were talking about cutting it less than a penny, and now one of the commissioners is going to come forth and propose to cut it down to about 2 cents. Now I don't know what's going to happen down there either, and you know, I don't know anything about their finances and what they pay for and don't pay for and all that. But I think that's pretty, to me, you know, when you add up what their total tax rate is, and then you've got MUDs, you've got the school districts, you got the city. You know, I can understand why the folks in Harris County would be totally upset. I mean, here in Brazos County, we've got, of course, the school districts. I mean, that's the biggest cost of all taxpayers in Brazos County. I mean, you know, you can look at your tax bill and you can see it. I mean, they're more than twice what either the city's rates or the county rate. If you look at the two cities in the county, our tax rate is lower than either of the two cities. 70% of our operations are funded by property tax. About 35% of the city's operations are funded by property tax. So we are twice as dependent on property taxes to get everything done that we need to get done. And I mean, and I will tell you, I've never been accused of being a tax and spend liberal. You talk to, whether it's the two cities or anybody else I've dealt with, and they will tell you that I'm usually trying to figure out how we can get it done cheaper. So I think we've done a good job. I think this court has done a good job in holding down the expense side. When we ran into, I mean, my philosophy has always been, whether it's in my personal life or whether it's been with government, is to look at what you think your future needs are going to be, and then try to build up some revenue on the things that you can afford to build up revenue and then pay for, rather than borrow money. Now, if it's a large project, you know, like whether it's like the Expo or whether it's the jail administration, you know, when you're talking about tens of millions, then you may have to borrow money for it. But as far as just the normal kind of rebuilding traditional roads, I've always felt like you need to build the revenue up, the fund balance up, and then spend that on those projects. So we've had some fund balance, which is what one of the commissioners always talks about. We got too much fund balance, we need to spend it. But we had fund balance, and we were preparing to do some of those projects when COVID hit, and then we didn't spend money for a year and a half or so because nobody was getting anything done. And so we did not spend money during that time, and so the fund balance has gone up. But those projects didn't get done, and so they still need to be done. And so those are the kind of things that, you know, I look at, and I look at the budget, and I've spent a lot of years trying to figure out how we're going to get things done that are needed and have enough money to do it, because we have to have a balanced budget. So And then we run into this, and I will tell you, I'm real concerned that when the tax rate goes to the no new revenue, and I think that's where they're going to drive it to, I think that's been the intent all along. When it goes there, we do have fund balance we can use in this upcoming year, and if we decide that we're going to stay with the budget that we actually passed, we will be able to survive it. But I can tell you the fund balance is going to go down, and it's going to impact us over the next 2-3 years. And if, in my opinion, with that known, I think we're going to have to take a look at the budget we passed and see whatever we can to try to trim back to stretch it out, because I don't know what it's going to look like, as far as, I can't imagine that we're going to get things done like we have been, and the things that have to be done at the tax rate that the new revenue is right now. So I think we would be in a bad position if we've got a court that is willing to try to raise the rate back up. I don't like that. I think it's much better to have tried to lower it down some, but not take a drastic cut, which is what our two commissioners have been advocating, and see if we can't get projects done that need to be done, whether it's roads or buildings, or repair, whatever, all those kinds of things that we deal with every day, and to drop the tax rate 6-7 cents, in my opinion, is a terrible thing for the county is going to be deal with. And we will go back to, as Constable Lampo was saying, we used to wear cars out before we ever got rid of them. Whether in road and bridge equipment, we wore it out before, and so you're constantly dealing with repairs and all that kind of thing. I'm afraid that that's the direction we're headed. I hate it, but at this point, we've got two commissioners that are in control of whether we do it or not, and I hope that one of the two could show up tomorrow. We'll have another special session Thursday, I think, at 2 to give one more opportunity. And at that point, if we don't have 4 show up for a vote, then we're going to the no new revenue. And I think then we'll really be needing to sit down and see any place we can trim the budget that we're in right now, see if there's anything we can trim in there to try to stretch this thing out further, because it's going to impact us.
Well, Judge, I totally agree with you. The city of Bryan cut their tax rate 1/2 cent, so their new rate's going to be 62 cents per 100, 62.4. And the city of College Station is lowering theirs 1 cent from 53.46 to 52.46. And we're talking about a 3 cent deduction to 46.35, and lower than that. I don't even like that rate. Lower than that really puts us in a bind going forward, and I don't think it's going to be pretty. And we're going to have to raise taxes next year, and probably the years after that, because of the 3.5% cap. And it's just awful. And if my colleagues are watching, I hope they show up to make their case and see if they can persuade one of us to go along with them. But if not, they have to accept the rule of the majority. We hope.
Well, it is 2:15, and unless somebody out in the audience wants to speak, anybody else want to have anything to say? Christy, you want to?
Good afternoon, Christy Rowe, Brazos County Tax Collector. I just wanted to verify there are 2 additional votes available on the tax rate, correct? One in the morning at regular Commissioners Court, 10 o'clock, and then another one on Thursday afternoon at
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, okay. Just wanting to verify that those are the times made available. That's a requirement if you're not voting now, you have to announce the date, time, and place of the next opportunity to vote.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's correct. Thank
Thank
you.
So there's 10 o'clock tomorrow morning,
Or 2 o'clock Thursday.
2 o'clock Thursday.
That's correct.
10 o'clock October 18th and 2 o'clock October 19th. 20th. Excuse me.
Okay, so we will skip the items, and the next date to take action on the tax rate is the 18th at 10 a.m. That's tomorrow. If there's nothing else from the audience, we'll adjourn the public hearing.
Thank you.